Okay, in last class, based on the conduction, what is the conduction, convection, and the radiation? We discussed it. And regarding conduction, we are discussing some different note points. Okay. How many note points are completed in last class? In last class, how many note points are completed? 5 note points are completed. Okay, next, sixth one. You see, the heat energy transmitted through the rod in steady state. In steady state, heat energy transmitted through the uniform rod Q is equal to Ka delta theta. That means theta. Okay, delta theta we can write. You write delta theta. Delta theta, that is the temperature difference between the two ends of the rod into time taken by length of the rod or the distance between the 2 points where temperature difference is noted. Okay, this is the formula for amount of heat energy transmitted through the rod in steady state. Here in this formula, L by thermal resistance, comma, capital R is equal to L by Ka. No? Thermal resistance capital R is equal to L by Ka. Okay, therefore, Q is equal to delta theta into T by L by Ka means we can write thermal resistance R. No? So from this thermal resistance R is equal to, we can write delta theta into T by Q also. Okay. Now, for this thermal resistance, what is the SI unit? SI unit of capital is SI unit of capital. Capital is equal to L by Ka. R means delta theta T by Q also we can write now. Delta theta means that is the temperature Kelvin. Kelvin by T by Q means second by joule. Or joule per second we can write. Joule per second means watt now. That's why watt. Kelvin per watt is the SI unit of the thermal resistance. So based on this one, we can write, I think, Kelvin per watt means we can write the dimension formula also. Kelvin means theta we can write by watt means it is a power. Power means work by time. ml square to the power of minus 2 by T. That means ml square to the power of minus 3. Here we have tried. Write this in numerator. Then you will get dimension formula for thermal resistance also. Next, what is the temperature gradient? Temperature gradient. Temperature gradient means that is equal to suppose for a distance between the 2 points dx, for the distance between the 2 points dx, suppose it is a rod, conducting rod. Here two cross sections are separated by a distance say dx. The temperature difference across this one is say d theta. There d theta by dx, that is the d theta by dx. Temperature difference for this much distance dx is d theta. Then temperature difference for unit separation between the 2 points, that is called temperature gradient. So temperature gradient means the temperature difference per unit length between the 2 points is called the temperature gradient. So what is the SI unit of the temperature gradient? Kelvin per meter, no? Temperature difference by distance meter, Kelvin per meter. So from this formula we can write temperature gradient as that is equal to delta theta by temperature difference between the two ends of the rod, delta theta by distance between these two, L. Here this is the temperature difference for the separation between the 2 points is L. It is the temperature difference for the separation between the two cross sections of the rod is L. Then what is the temperature difference for the unit distance between any 2 points? That means delta theta by L. For this much distance L, the temperature difference is theta 1 minus theta 2. Of course, that is delta theta. Then for unit distance between the two cross sections, what is the temperature difference means? Delta theta by L. That is the temperature gradient. That can be called as temperature gradient. Temperature gradient is equal to Q by Ka T. We can write now. That is also equal to Q by Ka into T. It is the temperature gradient. SI unit of temperature gradient is Kelvin per meter. SI unit of this temperature gradient is Kelvin per meter. SI unit of temperature gradient. SI unit is Kelvin per meter. That is the SI unit. Okay. Next. when rods are connected in series, what is the effective thermal resistance and what is the effective coefficient of thermal conductivity? So whenever two rods are joined end to end, that means they are in series. Whatever the effective coefficient of thermal conductivity and the effective thermal resistance. Shall I write this part? Shall I write this part? Okay. Next, seventh one. Composite rod. Composite rod. Two or three may be connected in series. Composite rod. In composite rods, in series. Composite rod means in series. Composite rod. That means when different rods are connected in series. In series means you see, suppose there are two rods. You take two rods. This is one rod. It is another rod. Both are joined end to end. అంటే ఒకదానికి ఎండ్కి ఇంకో దానికి ఎండ్ కనెక్ట్ చేశారు. Both are joined end to end. The length of this rod is L1. Length of this rod is say L2. Of course, areas of cross sections are same because these two are joined end to end means definitely area of cross section would be same. A1 is equal to A2. Temperature reference. Suppose it is the junction. No? It is the junction where the two rods are joined together. That's why at this junction or at this interface, the temperature is theta. Temperature of the interface or temperature of the junction. At this end, temperature is theta 1. At this end, temperature is say theta 2. This is the axis of the rod. Okay. Now, when you supply some heat energy to this one, of course, as the temperature difference is there, theta 1 greater than theta 2 say, then definitely heat energy transmission takes place from higher temperature to lower temperature no, by itself. That's why in steady state, some heat energy transmission takes place here. In steady state, you see, whatever the heat energy enter into the composite rod through this end, the same amount of heat energy comes out to the other end also. That means the same amount of heat energy transmitted through this rod and through this rod also. Okay, that's why whenever the two rods are joined in series, then the heat energy transmitted through the two rods remains the same. That means heat energy transmitted through the first rod and heat energy transmitted through the second rod both are equal. Q1, Q2 both are equal. So what is the ratio between heat energy transmitted to the two rods when they are connected in series means 1:1. This is one important point. Okay. Next, from the formula, you see here temperature difference across these two ends of the composite rod, that is theta 1 minus theta 2, is equal to temperature difference across this rods, across this first rod, theta 1 minus theta, plus temperature difference across the second rod, theta minus theta 2. Because heat energy flowing from this to in this direction, that means this is greater than this one. Theta minus theta is the temperature difference. You see, when you add the temperature difference across this rod and across this rod like this, then it is equal to temperature difference across the composite rod only. You see, minus theta plus theta cancel. Then you will get theta 1 minus theta 2. That's why this can be written like this. Okay. So this is temperature difference across the entire composite rod. Temperature difference across the composite rod is equal to temperature difference across the first rod plus temperature difference across the second rod. This is the equation 1. But we know heat energy transmitted Q is equal to Ka delta theta T by L. No? Okay. Transmitting power or amount of heat energy transmitted per second, that means Q by T is equal to, we can write Ka delta theta by L. So this is equal to delta theta by L by Ka. We can write L by Ka. That is equal to delta theta by L by K means thermal resistance capital. We can write now. Thermal resistance capital. Here in case of two rods, amount of heat energy enter into this rod in a time t seconds is Q. Then it is the rate of transmission of heat energy through the rod. That is called transmitting power. So the rate of transmitting the rate of transfer of heat energy through this rod, both are same. That's why it is constant. When it is constant, then for the two rods here, this is constant. For the single rod, it is not constant. For the two rods, as the same amount of heat energy transmitted through this rod and through this rod, then rate of transmission of heat energy remains same in both the rods. That's why this is constant. So as this is equal to delta theta by r, this is constant. Therefore, from this formula, delta theta is directly proportional to thermal resistance. Delta theta is directly proportional to thermal resistance. Suppose the thermal resistance of this rod is say R1, this rod is say R2, and effective thermal resistance is say Kepler. Effective thermal resistance of this entire rod is equal to Kepler. Effective thermal resistance of composite rod. That means the thermal resistance between these two ends, composite rod, is equal to say Kepler. Then, as the thermal resistance is directly proportional to temperature difference, you see across the composite rod, temperature difference is theta 1 minus theta 2 or delta theta. That is directly proportional to effective thermal resistance across the zone. That is R. R is equal to from 1. Delta theta 1. That is the temperature difference across the first rod. Suppose if the thermal resistance across the thermal resistance of the first rod is say R1, then delta theta 1 is directly proportional to R1. That is directly proportional to R2. So this is the formula for effective thermal resistance. So whenever the two rods are joined end to end or in series, then effective thermal resistance is equal to sum of the thermal resistance of the individual rods. Suppose if 3 are there plus R3, 4 are there plus R4, like that we have to write. But in all rods, the amount of heat energy transmitted through all rods remains same, so that ratio is 1:1:1 like that. Okay. What is the effective coefficient of thermal conductivity? Effective coefficient of thermal conductivity. We know thermal resistance R is equal to, thermal resistance Kepler is equal to L by Kn. As the two rods are in series, that generally, whenever the two rods are in series, generally area of cross section will be same. That's why that implies thermal resistance is directly proportional to L by K, we can write. Okay, now from this formula, from this equation 2, R means effective thermal resistance is directly proportional to effective thermal resistance of the composite rod is directly proportional to the total length of the composite rod by effective coefficient of thermal conductivity. What is the total length of the composite rod? Tell me. What is the total length of the composite rod? What is the total length of the composite rod? L1 plus L2. Okay. So instead of R, we can write L1 plus L2 by effective coefficient of thermal conductivity when two rods are in series, say Ks, 1 by Ks. Or we can write K also, Ks is equal to R1 means thermal resistance of the first rod. That is directly proportional to length by coefficient of thermal conductivity. Length is L1, coefficient of thermal conductivity is say K1, here K2. Okay, therefore L1 by K1 plus L2, R2 means L2 by K2. Here. Okay, therefore you do cross multiplication. Take LCM. K1 L2 plus K1 L2 plus K2 L1. K2 L1 by K1 K2. Okay, therefore Ks is equal to effective coefficient of thermal conductivity. Effective coefficient of thermal conductivity when two rods are connected in series is effective coefficient of thermal conductivity Ks is equal to do cross multiplication. K1 K2 into L1 plus L2. K1 K2 into L1 plus L2 whole by K1 L2 plus K2 L1. This is the effective coefficient of thermal conductivity. So when two rods are joined end to end or in series, then effective coefficient of thermal conductivity Ks is equal to K1 K2 into L1 plus L2 by K1 L2 plus K2 L1. Okay, or better to remember like this. L1, whenever rods are connected in series, R is constant. R means R is proportional to L by K. R is proportional to, okay, here R is proportional to L by K. Okay, So here R is proportional to L by K. So whenever two rods are connected in series, effective distance R is equal to R1 plus R2. R means L by K. R means effective length of the composite rod L1 plus L2 by K is equal to L1 by K1 plus L2 by K2. Simply you remember like that. You remember like that. Then you simplify them, you will get this answer. Suppose if lengths are equal, if the lengths of the two rods are equal, but coefficients of thermal conductivity, thermal resistance all are different. In such case, what is the effective coefficient of thermal conductivity? Shall I write this part? Shall I write this part? Okay. If L1 is equal to L2 is equal to say L, that means the two rods are having same length. Then effective coefficient of thermal conductivity Ks is equal to L1 L2. Instead of L1 L2, you write L only. 2L by K1 L plus K2 L. L you take common. LL cancel. Then 2 K1 K2 by K1 plus K2 you will get 2 K1 K2 by L1 K1 plus K2 you will get. This is the answer because Ks is equal to K1 K2 into L plus L by K1 L plus K2 L you will get. When you simplify them, you will get this one. It is the effective coefficient of thermal conductivity when two rods of same length, two similar rods. Two similar rods means length same, area of cross section same, but having different coefficients of thermal conductivities are joined together in series. Then effective coefficient of thermal conductivity is 2 K1 K2 by K1 plus K2. Okay. And whenever two conductors are connected in series, effective thermal resistance is sum of the thermal resistance of each rod. Effective coefficient of thermal conductivity means we can write like this. Okay. Shall I erase totally? Shall I erase? Next. Two rods in parallel. Eighth one. When two rods are in parallel. Eighth one. Two rods are in parallel means suppose between two reservoirs, that means two temperature sources. Here it is at a temperature theta 1, it is at a temperature theta 2. Two rods are joined like this. This is one rod, this is another rod. This is one rod, this is another rod. Of course, no doubt, as these two rods are connected between two temperature sources only, then temperature difference across this rod, both are same. Temperature theta 1 greater than theta 2 same. Okay, then it is hot and it is cold. That's why temperature difference across the two rods remains the same. No? That's why whenever two rods are joined such that temperature difference across the two rods are same, then they are said to be connected in parallel. So in parallel combination, temperature difference across the first rod, temperature difference across the second rod, both are equal. That's why ratio between temperature difference across the two rods is equal to 1:1 when they are in parallel. Okay. In this case, from the formula Q is equal to K A delta theta into T by L. That implies, okay, this is the equation. So in this area of cross section is different, length is same, temperature difference is same in the same time. That's why Q is proportional to K. Actually, you see, whenever temperature difference is maintained across the two rods here, whenever the same temperature difference is maintained across the two rods, they are in parallel. In parallel, suppose the heat energy transmitted through this rod is a Q1, heat energy transmitted through this rod is a Q2. Coefficients of thermal conductivity is of course K1, K2. Areas of cross section A1 and A2. Lengths are same. Okay, now the total heat energy transmitted through the composite rod, and in between these two, here through these two rods, whatever the total heat energy transmitted, in between the two rods, whatever the total heat energy transmitted, that is Q1 plus Q2. Then, what is the coefficient of thermal conductivity of the single rod having same length to transmit the same amount of heat energy through that single rod? Whatever the coefficient of thermal conductivity, that is called effective coefficient of thermal conductivity of the two rods. Okay, that's why the total heat energy transmitted through the two rods is equal to Q1 plus Q2. Okay, this is equation say 1. In this case, what about the thermal resistance? You see, from is equal to Ka delta theta T by L. Okay, that is equal to delta theta T by L by Ka we can write. That means thermal resistance we can write. Okay, the temperature difference is same, this one is same. Therefore, Q is inversely proportional to thermal resistance. Now we substitute here from 1. Suppose whatever the heat energy transmitted, total heat energy transmitted through the two rods, then you replace this by a single rod having the area of cross section equal to area of cross section of these two, sum of these two area of cross sections having same length. To transmit the same heat amount of heat energy as the heat energy transmitted to the two rods, whatever the single rod which is having coefficient of thermal conductivity, that is called effective coefficient of thermal conductivity of the two rods. Okay, so here from this formula, Q means 1 by R is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2, where R1, R2 are the thermal resistance of the individual rods. Then these two rods are replaced by a single rod having effective coefficient of thermal conductivity, thermal resistance capital R. Then 1 by R is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. So when conductors are connected in parallel, effective thermal resistance is formula is this one. Okay, next, from this formula, whenever two conductors are joined in parallel, then from 1, you see, here from 1, as the amount of heat energy transmitted through the rods is proportional to Ka in this case, because whenever the rods are in parallel, temperature difference across all the rods same, length is same, and in the same time we had to find. So Q is proportional to Ka. No? Therefore, from this one, effective coefficient of here it is the total heat energy transmitted through the single rod. ఈ రెండింటి రీప్లేసెస్ సింగిల్ రాడ్ ని జాయిన్ చేసినప్పుడు ఆ సింగిల్ రాడ్ దా పాస్ అయ్యే హీట్ ఎనర్జీ రెండు రాడ్స్ ద్వారా పాస్ అయ్యే హీట్ ఎనర్జీ ఈక్వల్ కావాలి. దట్స్ వై ఇట్ ఈస్ ద హీట్ ఎనర్జీ ట్రాన్స్మిటెడ్ త్రూ ద సింగిల్ రాడ్. Okay, which is directly proportional to the effective coefficient of thermal conductivity of the single rod into effective total area of cross section of the single rod. That's why Ka is equal to Q1 means K1 A1, Q2 means K2 A2. Here K into A means area of cross section of the single rod. Here we have to replace these two rods by a single rod having area of cross section same as these two rods together. And the area of cross section A1 ikkada A2 kabatti total area of cross section becomes A1 plus A2. It is the effective area of cross section of the single rod, which is equal to K1 A1 plus K2 A2. Therefore, K effective is equal to K parallel. That means when the two rods are connected in parallel, effective coefficient of thermal conductivity Kp is equal to K, which is equal to K1 A1 plus K2 A2 whole by A1 plus A2. This is the effective coefficient of thermal conductivity whenever two rods are connected in parallel. Three rods are there, plus K3 A3 we have to write, plus K3 A3 by A1 plus A2 plus A3 we have to write. If areas of cross sections are the two same for both rods, if A1 is equal to A2 is equal to A, then effective coefficient of thermal conductivity Kp is equal to, or K effective is equal to, K parallel is equal to A1 A2 రెండు సేమే కాబట్టి ఇక్కడ A plus A రాస్తే 2A. ఇక్కడ A కామన్ దీని A క్యాన్సిల్ అయిపోతే K1 plus K2 by 2 నే వచ్చేది. సో K1 plus K2 by 2. It is the effective coefficient of thermal conductivity when two rods are connected in parallel. When two rods are connected in parallel. Okay. What, Lokesh, what is our doubt? Okay, n similar rods when they are connected in series, then you will get K1 A1 plus K2 A2 plus K3 A3 and so on, Kn An. We have to write. Based on the values, we can use arithmetic progression like that, AP formulas, etc. Based on the given data. Okay. You mentioned last 2 minutes like that, no? What is that last 2 minutes, Lokesh? Okay. Right. Okay, shall I erase now? Shall I erase? Okay. Tomorrow I will discuss the advanced level. Okay. Tomorrow in study hour I will take 8 to 9, or morning in the class I will discuss the advanced paper. Already mains paper was discussed on Saturday only. Okay. Okay, next 9th one. Suppose there is a cylinder of radius capital made of material of thermal conductivity K1 is surrounded by a cylindrical shell of inner radius R and outer radius 2R. It was given in advance also, so most important you see. Of course, initially there is a cylinder. It is one cylinder. It is one cylinder of radius. Suppose the axis of the cylinder is this one. The radius of the cylinder is capital. Here we have taken a cylinder of radius R and made of material of coefficient of thermal conductivity K1. So for this rod, for this material of the rod, coefficient of thermal conductivity is K1. It is surrounded by a cylindrical shell of inner radius capital and outer radius is 2R. It is surrounded by another cylindrical shell having inner radius R. Here for this cylindrical shell, it is the shell. It is the shell. Okay, inner radius R and outer radius 2R. This is 2R. It is surrounded by another shell having inner radius R and outer radius 2R, but coefficient of thermal conductivity K2. Coefficient of thermal conductivity K2. That is given. Okay. Now the effective coefficient of thermal conductivity is dash. Effective coefficient of thermal conductivity is dash. Here you see, all of you stop your video sharing. What Shobalaji, what you said? Without water board will not. What Shobalaji? Give your suggestion. What you want to say? I will. No, it's some without water boat will not rub. Shall I unmute you? Shobalaji. Acha, acha. Without spraying that, actually that is not water. In order to rub the boat clearly, choline. If you spray the choline with diluted choline, not direct choline, when you dilute the choline and if you spray here, then it will rub easily. Okay. Directly with water, it cannot rub clearly. That's why I generally use diluted choline. Okay. Right. Here there is a cylinder. There is a cylinder having radius r and coefficient of thermal conductivity K1. That is surrounded with a cylindrical shell of radius, inner radius r and outer radius 2r, having coefficient of thermal conductivity K2. Then what is the effective coefficient of thermal conductivity of this arrangement? Suppose here the total heat energy, when you maintain the temperature difference across the two rods, across the shell and across the rod, you see this end you keep at a temperature theta 1, this end at a temperature theta 2, so that the temperature difference across the shell and the cylinder both are same. No, temperature difference across the shell and the cylinder both are same. Okay, that's why how they are connected. When this shell and the cylinder are connected, so that the temperature difference across them remains same. How they are connected? Parallel. So they are connected in parallel. Suppose the total heat energy transmitted through the system is a Q, that is divided into two parts. Through cylinder, Q1 heat energy transmitted, and through shell, Q2 heat energy is transmitted. Total heat energy transmitted is equal to Q1 plus Q2. We can write now. This is equation 1. Total heat energy transmitted is equal to Q1 plus Q2. Here you see, heat energy transmitted through the system is equal to general formula Ka delta theta T by L. L is same for both. Temperature difference is same and T is also same. So heat energy transmitted is directly proportional to K into A. No? Therefore, from 1, Q means total heat energy transmitted through this system, that is equal to Q. Q is directly proportional to effective coefficient of thermal conductivity into effective area of cross section. What is the effective area of cross section? Area of cross section of this entire cylindrical system, that is equal to pi into 2r whole square. No, so pi into 2r whole square you write. Pi r square. That's why pi into total area of cross section is equal to pi into radius 2r. No, it is. So pi into 2r whole square. Okay, that is equal to. Otherwise, first you write the formula and then you substitute the data. Okay. First you write the formula, then you substitute data. K effective into A effective is equal to K1 A1 plus K2 A2. K effective we have to find. Effective area of cross section means the total area of sum of area of cross section of this one and this one. That gives the total area of cross section this. That is equal to pi into 2r whole square is equal to K1 into A1 means area of cross section of this rod. That is equal, as the radius is r, cross section area is pi r square. Right, pi r square plus K2 into area of cross section of the cylindrical shell. That means area of cross section of the shaded part only. Shaded part area of cross section is from total area of cross section. You subtract the area of cross section of the inner cylinder. That gives the cross sectional area of the shell. That is equal to pi into 2r whole square minus pi into r square. That gives the area of cross section of the shell only. No. So from this, K effective is equal to into pi into 4 pi r square. So 4 pi r square is equal to K1 pi r square plus K2 into 4 pi r square minus pi r square. That means 3 pi r square. In all, pi r square can be cancelled. So 4 into K effective is equal to K1 plus 3K2, or K effective is equal to K1 plus 3K2 whole by 4. It is the effective coefficient of thermal conductivity of the combination of the shell and the cylinder. Okay, note down. Note this one. Completed? Okay. Today I will give assignment to you related to this thermal conductivity, question of thermal conductivity. Next, 10th one. 10th one. Suppose there is a heat transmitted through the sphere. Heat transmitted through the sphere. Shell. Heat transmitted through the shell. Heat transmitted through shell. Suppose here there is a spherical shell. There is a spherical shell of inner radius small r1, outer radius capital R1. Sorry, small r2. Okay, here it is a shell. That means only matter is there in this part only. In this part only substance is there. Here it is hollow, as it is a spherical shell. Coefficient of thermal conductivity is K. Coefficient of thermal conductivity of metal of the shell is say K. Suppose the inner surface is maintained at a temperature theta 1, outer surface is maintained at a temperature theta 2. Of course, theta 1 greater than say theta 2 or theta 2 greater than theta 1. Whatever it may be. Suppose theta 1 greater than theta 2. That means the inner surface is hot and outer surface is cold. Then net transfer of heat energy takes place from inner surface to outer surface. No, that is a Q. Now, what is the effective? What is the effective? What is the effective thermal resistance between the inner and outer surfaces? What is the effective thermal? What is the effective thermal resistance between inner surface and outer surface? And what is the heat energy transmitted from inner to outer surface? These are the two cases. Effective thermal resistance we have to find, and heat energy transmitted to this we have to find. Q we have to find. Q we have to find, and effective thermal resistance between inner and outer surface. Thermal resistance between inner and outer surface is Kepler. That is equal to how much? We have to find this one. Suppose if the area of cross here, suppose you see this area, suppose it is just like this. So in between these two, what is the effective thermal resistance? Means directly we can write R is equal to L by L means distance between two faces. L by K into area of cross section. Area of cross section everywhere along its length. Area of cross section is same. No, that's why simply we can write like this to find the thermal resistance between these two faces. In order to find the thermal resistance between this face and this surface and this surface, is the area of cross section of each and every element remains same. Here you see area of cross section of this part, area of cross section of this part, everyone is same. But here area of cross section of this inner surface is pi r1 square, outer surface is pi r2 square, and different spherical elements when you consider they are having different radii, so that they are having different areas. That's why first you consider the small elemental sphere here. One thin spherical shell you imagine. One thin spherical shell you imagine. One thin spherical shell you imagine. The radius of this thin spherical shell is say smaller, and thickness is say dr. Now, what is the heat energy transmitted through this element? What is the heat energy transmitted through the element? What is the heat energy transmitted through the element? Tell me. Here you see, whenever the temperature difference is maintained, whatever the heat energy transmitted through the surface, the same heat energy transmitted through this and through this also. So heat energy transmitted through each and every element remains Q. That is same. That is same. Okay. So that heat energy transmitted through the element Q is equal to coefficient of thermal conductivity of this one is every part is having same coefficient of thermal conductivity K into area of the element, surface area of the element through which heat energy transmitted into temperature difference d theta, because temperature difference across this element is say d theta. Because the temperature difference changes from element to element now. Total temperature difference is theta 1 minus theta 2, but temperature difference across the element is different. So d theta. K A delta theta T by L. L means the distance between these two surfaces of the element, that is equal to dr, no? So you write dr. So that is equal to Q is equal to K into what is the area of the element? Area of this element means, you see, as we consider the element having radius r, thickness very small, because it is the element. As the thickness is very small, the inner radius and outer radius both are same. That's why surface area of the element is equal to, as it is a sphere, it is just, this element is just like a spherical shell of the very small thickness dr. Hence surface area of the shell is equal to 4 pi small r square. 4 pi small r square. Through the surface area of this element, the heat energy transmission takes place. Temperature difference is d theta. Temperature difference is d theta into time in the given time t by dr. Okay, therefore, from this we have to find effective thermal resistance. No. First we have to find the heat energy transmitted through this one. Heat energy transmitted through that. Okay, to find the heat energy transmitted, so you see dr by r square, you write, is equal to dr by r square is equal to 4 pi k t by q into d theta. Because for different elements, when you consider temperature difference across the different elements are different, radii are different. That's why smaller and theta are different. But K is constant for every element. In the same time, heat energy transmitted through each and every element is also same. That's why these all are constants. Okay, it is the formula for heat energy transmitted through the small element across whose temperature difference is d theta and thickness of the element is dr. This type of elements can be imagined from radius r1 to radius r2. That's why total heat energy transmitted through this inner surface of the spherical shell and outer surface is equal to integral of, you consider the elements from this inner surface to outer surface. So integral of dr by r square. When dr by r square. dr by r square. So this type of elements can be considered from inner radius r1 to outer radius r2. That's why small r is equal to r1 to r2 is equal to 4 pi kt by q is constant. 4 pi kt by q is constant. You keep aside integral d theta. Here temperature difference across the element is d theta. So as this type of elements can be considered from r1 to r2 radius, then temperature changes from theta 1 to theta 2, because the temperature of the inner surface is theta 1, outer surface is theta 2. That's why between theta 1 to theta 2 integrate. Therefore, from this 1 by r square means r to the power of minus 2 dr. That means r to the power of minus 2 dr means integral r to the power of minus 2 dr means r to the power of minus 1 by minus 1. That means minus 1 by r. Limits r1 to r2 is equal to 4 pi kt by q into theta. Integral d theta means theta 1 to theta 2 limits. Now, here, first you substitute upper limit minus 1 by r2. Before substituting lower limit, you put minus sign. Minus half minus plus 1 by r1. So 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2, you will get here 4 pi kt by q into upper limit. First you substitute theta 2. Lower limit means minus theta 1. We can write. So theta 2 minus theta 1. From this, you take LCM. R2 minus R1 by R1 R2 is equal to 4 pi kt into theta 2 minus theta 1 by q. We need q. Therefore, q is equal to Q is equal to general formula is K into area of pi into R1 R2 cross multiplication. R1 R2 by R2 minus R1 into temperature difference theta 2 minus theta 1 into T by, okay, that's all. This is only. This is only. So I got K is equal to Q is equal to K into pi R1 R2 into delta theta T by L. L means R2 minus R1 I got. This is the formula for amount of heat energy transmitted through the spherical shell. Amount of heat energy transmitted through the spherical shell is this one. Okay. Actually, here there must be pi r square. If it is the cylinder, there must be pi r square. But R instead of R square R1 R2 is there. R means square root of R1 R2 no. Square root of R1 R2 no. Whenever the radius of the spherical shell increases from inner to outer surface from R1 to R2, then effective radius is equal to, instead of effective radius, here it is written that root R1 R2 is written instead of R. That's why effective radius is root R1 R2. Effective radius. Effective radius. Small r is equal to root R1 R2. Then root R1 R2. We can write this. Okay. So R square means R1 R2. Pi R square. R square means R1 R2. We can write. I have written like that. Okay. R2 minus R1. Here this is R2 minus R1 means that is the thickness of the spherical shell. Or it is the thickness of the spherical shell between which temperature difference is noted. Theta 1 is here, theta 2 is here. Theta 1 minus theta 2 is the temperature difference across this, whose thickness is R2 minus R1. Like that only. If you remember this formula, then we can do directly without following this procedure. Even in case of elasticity also. In fluid mechanics also we have, suppose there is a cylindrical wire having non-uniform area of cross section whose radius varies linearly with length. Then what is the elongation of the wire means? Already we got at the place of smaller, we got, suppose this radius is here, this radius is a B. Then we got at the place of the radius of the wire of uniform area of cross section, we have root AB we got. It is the effective radius. It is the effective radius. Already I explained that point. What is your doubt? Chanakya Sai, what is your doubt? Where you are having doubt, you tell me. Where 4 is there? Okay, here 4 is there, no? Okay, 4. 4 I did. Okay, 4 is there, right? 4 is there. Okay. 4 is there. 4. Here this area is equal to 4 pi r square, no? Surface area is 4 pi r square if r is the effective radius of this sphere. Effective radius is equal to, instead of effective radius here, r root r1 r2 is there. Okay? Yes. 4 is there. Okay, now it's okay. Now it is okay? Right. So in elasticity, we derive this type of formula, no? Effective radius is equal to root AB only. We got. So same type of concept here also. So when load is attached here, what is the elongation of the this suspension wire means? Effective radius is root AB. Instead of R, we had substitute this one, root AB. That's all. Then elongation E is equal to question mark. Young's Y is equal to F. That means load suspended, weight suspended here, mg by area of cross section, pi r square, because it is the cylinder. Pi r square. Pi into R means effective radius, you substitute. R square means AB only you will get. Okay, F by A by E by L. E by elongation by length means this length. Directly you can substitute and you can find the elongation of the effect of this total wire due to suspension of the load at this point. Okay. No. Actually, the surface area of the sphere means 4 pi r square. No, instead of R, 4 pi instead of R, R1 R2 is there. Instead of R square, R1 R2 is there. Instead of R1 root R1 R2. Instead of R square, R1 R2 is there means R square is equal to R1 R2. R is equal to root R1 R2. No, that R is equal to root R1 R2 is the effective radius of the shell. Effective radius of the shell having inner radius R1, outer radius R2. అప్పుడు దానికి ఎఫెక్టివ్ రేడియస్ ఎంత అంటే రూట్ R1 R2. అది గుర్తుపెట్టుకుంటే మనం ఈ మొత్తం డిరైవ్ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు, డైరెక్ట్లీ వీ కెన్ రైట్ హియర్. ఓకే ఓకే ప్రణీత్. ఓకే ప్రణీత్, రైట్. Shall I erase this part also? Shall I erase this part? Okay. Okay. Next, in the same case, what is the effective thermal resistance? In the same case, they ask you to find the effective thermal resistance. In case of spherical shell only, thermal resistance of the spherical shell, same problem. Thermal resistance of spherical shell. Of course, if there is a rod of length L, if there is a rod of length L, radius or area cross section A, coefficient of thermal conductivity K, it is having uniform area of cross section. In that case, what is the effective thermal resistance? Means simply L by Ka we can write, where A is the uniform area of cross section. Okay, but in case of spherical shell of inner radius R1, outer radius R2, it is the spherical shell of inner radius R1, outer radius R2. In this case, the inner surface area is 4 pi R1 square, outer surface area is 4 pi R2 square. That's why in between these 2 points, if you want to find the effective thermal resistance, then surface area is not constant. It is pi R1 square, it is pi R2, sorry, 4 pi R1 square, 4 pi R2 square, because it is a spherical shell. No? Inner area is 4 pi R1 square, outer surface area is 4 pi R2 square. Different areas of cross section. In this case, in order to find the effective thermal resistance, we cannot use directly this formula. This area is not constant. Okay. Now, in this case, you see, consider the small element. First, I say the procedure, then how we can write simply, I will explain. So, you consider the small element here. Small element of radius R, thickness dr. So here, as the small element is considered, then the inner radius of the inner area of the element and outer area of the element both are same. Inner area and outer area both are same. That's why, what is the thermal resistance of the element? What is the thermal resistance of the element between inner and outer surfaces? We need the thermal resistance between these two surfaces. So first, across the element, what is the thermal resistance? Across an element, the thermal resistance is dr is equal to L by Ka. General formula is thermal resistance R is equal to L by Ka, general formula. So L means across the shell, thermal resistance means thickness dr, no? That's why thickness dr by K into coefficient of thermal conductivity K into surface area. Surface area means, as it is the element, the inner radius, outer radius both are same almost all. That's why inner area, outer area both are same. That same area, surface area, means 4 pi small r square. It is the surface area. Okay, just by using this formula, I have written this one. It is the thermal resistance of the element considered. So this type of elements can be imagined from inner surface to outer surface. For each and every element, you find the thermal resistance, you add them because they all are in series or parallel. When you consider the number, it is the combination of number of this type of elements from radius R1 to R2. All these elements are in series or parallel. Because of temperature difference, whatever the heat energy transmitted through the surface, the same heat energy transmitted through each and every element and finally emerges out. That means to all the elements, the same amount of heat energy is transmitted. So how they are connected? Are these all elements are in parallel or series? Are all these elements are parallel or series? Tell me. Whenever the different rods are connected, so that same heat energy transmitted through each and every rod. How they are connected? Series. Series, not parallel. Rahul. Series. ఇక్కడ ఈ సర్ఫేస్ నుంచి ఎంత హీట్ అనేది ట్రాన్స్మిట్ అవుతుందో అదే హీట్ అనేది బయటకు ఎమర్జ్ కావాలి కాబట్టి డెఫినెట్లీ సేమ్ హీట్ అనేది ట్రాన్స్మిటెడ్ త్రూ ఈచ్ అండ్ ఎవ్రీ పార్ట్. ఓకే, దట్ మీన్స్ దే ఆర్ ఇన్ సిరీస్. When they are in series, for all elements you find the thermal resistances and you add them, because whenever the two rods are connected in series, effective thermal resistance is R1 plus R2. No? Similarly, the thermal resistance of one element is dr. Then total thermal resistance between inner surface and outer surface means that is equal to sum of the thermal resistance of individual elements from radius R1 to R2. Instead of doing so, you do integration. So total thermal resistance between inner surface and outer surface. R is equal to R. Okay. Now, here that is equal to say R. That is equal to R. That is equal to R. That is equal to question mark. Okay. So therefore, total thermal resistance is equal to integral dr. That is equal to integral dr means small dr by k into 4 pi small r square. Limits, as we are integrating with respect to r, limits r1 to r2 we have to integrate. That is equal to 1 by 4 pi k is constant. Here r to the power of minus 2 dr. Integral r to the power of minus 2 dr. Limits r1 to r2. That is equal to, okay, 1 by 4 pi k. When you do integration of minus r to the power of minus 2 dr, then you will get minus 1 by r. No? R to the power of minus 2 plus 1 by minus 2 plus 1. That means minus 1 by r. Limits r1 to r2. Therefore, 1 by 4 pi k into, when you substitute the limits, then you will get 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2 directly. 1 by r1 minus 1 by r2. That is equal to 1 by 4 pi k into r2 minus r1 by r1 r2. This is the effective thermal resistance. It is just like R is equal to, general formula is L by K. No? General formula is L by K into A. That is equal to L by K into A means general formula pi r square, where R average radius or mean radius. So R is equal to L means this, here between which surfaces they ask the thermal resistance, the thickness of that surface. That is equal to R2 minus R1. So L means we can write R2 minus R1 by K into surface area pi into, you see, K into 4 pi into R1 R2 is there. So you write R1 R2. Instead of area, 4 pi R1 R2 is there. Instead of area, 4 pi R1 R2 is there. Instead of L, R2 minus R1 is there. Okay, when you compare these two, then L is equal to R2 minus R1 we know. So instead of average radius here, what is the value there? Instead of average radius, of course, 4 pi r square we have to write, because the surface area of the spherical shell is equal to 4 pi r square. No? So you write 4 pi r square, where r is the average radius. So when you compare these two, average radius is equal to, at the place of r we are having r square, we are having r1 r2. Therefore, average radius small r is equal to root r1 r2. Previously we got the same formula. No? So if you know this formula, directly by using this formula we can write L means R2 minus R1 by K into effective surface area. Effective surface area means as it is a sphere, 4 pi into average radius square. Average radius means root R1 R2. Square means R1 R2. We got directly we can have answer. No need to do like this. Okay, simply orally we can do. Right, no doubt. Shall I arrange this one? Shall I arrange this one? Total. Okay. Next, call. What is the heat energy transmitted through the rod whose coefficient of thermal conductivity varies from K1 to K2, one end to other end, having length linearly, having length L and uniform area of cross section A, when maintained a temperature difference of delta theta. Suppose there is a uniform rod. There is a uniform rod. The coefficient of thermal conductivity at first end is K1, at the second end K2. The coefficient of thermal conductivity varies linearly with the distance. The length of the rod is L. Temperature difference here theta 1, here theta 2. So temperature difference across the rod delta theta is equal to theta 1 minus theta 2. So what is the heat energy transmitted through this rod? Q is equal to question mark. Okay. Here it is not having uniform coefficient of thermal conductivity. K1 value changes from K1 to K. K value changes from K1 to K2 linearly with the distance. That's why here you see, suppose at any point at a distance x from the first end, it is x equal to 0. Here x is equal to say L because length of the rod is L. Okay. Now, as the coefficient of the thermal conductivity is not constant, first you consider the small element here. You consider small element here. Okay. When you consider the small element here at a distance x and thickness of the element is say dx. At a distance x from the first end, we consider the element having thickness dx. At this element, suppose the coefficient of thermal conductivity of this element is say k. Then what is the k value first we have to find? By finding this k value, what is the heat energy transmitted you find? If heat energy transmitted through this element is Q, then total heat energy transmitted through this rod having length L is what? We can find directly. Okay, now first of all, our aim is we have to find the coefficient of thermal conductivity of this element. ఓకే అంటే ఇక్కడ నుంచి x డిస్టెన్స్ ఉన్న ఎలిమెంట్ కన్సిడర్ చేస్తుంటే దానికి కోఎఫిషియంట్ ఆఫ్ థర్మల్ కండక్టివిటీ ఎంత యాజ్ ద కోఎఫిషియంట్ ఆఫ్ థర్మల్ కండక్టివిటీ యాజ్ కోఎఫిషియంట్ ఆఫ్ థర్మల్ కండక్టివిటీ varies linearly with distance from one end, comma then at a distance x coefficient of thermal conductivity we had find. You see, as the coefficient of thermal conductivity varies linearly with the distance, then here at this end coefficient of thermal conductivity K1, at this end K2. So what is the increase in coefficient of thermal conductivity? K2 minus final coefficient of thermal conductivity minus initial coefficient of thermal conductivity is the increase in coefficient of thermal conductivity for this much length. Then what is the increase in coefficient of thermal conductivity for unit length means K2 minus K1 by L. అంటే యూనిట్ లెంత్ కి ఎంత కోఎఫిషియంట్ ఆఫ్ థర్మల్ కండక్టివిటీ చేంజ్ అయితే ఫర్ దిస్ మచ్ లెంత్ వాట్ ఇస్ ద చేంజ్ ఇన్ కోఎఫిషియంట్ ఆఫ్ థర్మల్ కండక్టివిటీ మీన్స్ ఇంటూ x. For this much length the change in coefficient of thermal conductivity is this one. Initial coefficient of thermal conductivity is K1. For this K1 you add the change in coefficient of thermal conductivity for this much length. Then use the coefficient of thermal conductivity of this element. That's why coefficient of thermal conductivity of the element is this one. Okay. Therefore, heat energy transmitted. You see, suppose if two amount of heat energy enter into this one, in steady state, whatever the heat energy entered, the same heat energy transmitted through this one. No? That's why each and every element of the this cylinder, same amount of heat energy is transmitted. That's why through the element heat energy transmitted Q is equal to heat transmitted through element. Heat through element. Heat through element. Q is equal to coefficient of the thermal conductivity of the element K into area of cross section A, Ka delta theta. Temperature difference across the element is a d theta. Temperature difference across the element is a d theta. D theta into time t. Whatever the time here, time t, whatever the time in which Q amount of heat energy entered, same amount of heat energy comes out in the same time. Same heat energy transmitted through this element also. That's why in the same time t. By L. L means thickness, the distance of the element through the heat energy transmitted. That is equal to thickness of the element dx. Thickness of the element dx. Okay. Now substitute value k value. K is equal to. Suppose if the k value is not given like this, the coefficient of thermal conductivity varies with the distance according to the equation k is equal to a plus bx. If it is given like that, then instead of k you write a plus bx only. Okay. But here it is given like this. That's why we have to substitute this value. K means K1 plus K2 minus K1 by L into X into area of cross section. Area of cross section of each and every element remains same because it is the uniform rod into time temperature difference delta theta T by dx. By dx. Okay. Therefore, from this dx by temperature difference across this is d theta, no? You write d theta. Temperature difference across the element is d theta, you write d theta. Okay. Dx by k1 plus k2 minus k1 by L into x is equal to. That means you bring all x terms aside, remaining terms aside. A t by q into d theta. Now you integrate this one. You integrate this one. Okay. Now integrate on both sides. Here it is the temperature difference across the element. So when you consider the elements from first end to last end, then temperature changes from theta 1 to theta 2. That's why temperature theta is equal to theta 1 to theta 2 integrate. Here x value. At a distance x we consider the element. This type of elements can be imagined from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to L. 0 to L you integrate. Here you see, it is just like 1 by a plus bx. It is there. It is just like that. When 1 by a plus bx dx is there, what is the integration value? When integral of 1 by a plus bx is there into dx, what is the integration value? Ln something, no? Ln of this value, no? So ln of k1 plus k2 minus k1 by L into x. Whatever the denominator here, we have to write this denominator. By coefficient of x, we have to write again in the denominator. So k2 minus k1 by L, which is the coefficient of x. Okay, now limits 0 to L. X is equal to 0 to L. That is equal to at by q is constant, keep outside. Integral dt means theta. Integral d theta means theta. Limits theta 1 to theta 2. Okay. First you substitute upper limit here. Instead of x, you substitute upper limit. Then what you will get, tell me? When you substitute upper limit, then instead of x, if you substitute L, LL cancel. K K1 plus K2 minus K1. Minus K1 plus K1 cancel, then K2. K2 by K2 minus K1 by L. K2 minus K1 by L means into L. Okay. Before substituting lower limit, you put minus sign. Instead of X, you substitute 0. When you substitute 0, then this 1 becomes 0. So K1 by K2 minus K1 by L means into L. You can have. Okay. So when we have substituted the limits, what is the value you will get finally? No, here L will be cancelled. No? Here you see, instead of X, you substitute L. Then LL cancel. Then only you will have. Sorry, it is totally ln by no K2 minus K1 is not in the denominator here. It is not in ln function. It is out of ln function. So, you see here. X equal to L means these two cancel, then ln K minus K1 plus K1 cancel ln K2. When you substitute lower limits minus X is equal to 0, then only K1, ln K1 you will get. Whole by this one, yeah. K2 minus K1 by L. Okay. This is equal to AT into theta 2 minus theta 1 by Q. Okay. Therefore, this becomes ln K2 by K1 by this one. Ln K2 by K1. Okay. By K2 minus K1 by L is equal to A into T into theta 2 minus theta 1 by Q. Therefore, we need Q. Heat energy transmitted to this rod is how much? Is equal to K2 minus K1 by L by ln K2 by K1, keep in brackets, into, instead of K, we have written this one, into A theta 2 minus theta 1 into T by L is here. Okay, this one. Therefore, Q is equal to K2 minus K1 by ln K2 by K1, keep in brackets, into A into delta theta T by, here you write this L here. L here or here? No problem. This is L. This is the formula for heat energy transmitted through this rod. This is the formula for heat energy transmitted through the rod. So from the, that is the heat energy transmitted. Here, what about the thermal resistance? What about the thermal resistance? Okay, from this formula, actually it is equal to K A delta theta T by L. Okay, thermal resistance means R is equal to L by K, no? At the place of L by K, what is the value you substitute here? You will get directly. Okay, R, suppose if you want to find the, if you want to derive the formula for thermal resistance, we can derive. Okay, first you note this one. We will derive the thermal resistance also. Vikyat, is there any mistake here? Vikyat, is there any mistake? Okay. Yeah, all these are in my notes also. All these are in my notes. I am explaining how to do that one. All these are in the notes. Okay, right. Now in this we have to find the thermal resistance by comparing with the general formula. By, you see, by comparing the general formula, R is equal to L by Ka. Okay, by using this formula, that is equal to, you see, R L by Ka is equal to delta theta T by Q. Delta theta Q by T by Q. So that is equal to, when you compare them, from this you find the delta theta into T by Q. Delta theta into T by Q is equal to L by area of cross section. L by area of cross section into K2 minus K1 by means into ln K2 by K1. I think you will get this formula only. Of course, we have to derive this formula. So L into ln K2 by K1 by A into K2 minus K1. Okay. Of course, by comparing, we can write directly, or we can derive the thermal resistance by this integration method. So the concept is important. That's why I'm explaining. I will explain how to derive the thermal resistance directly. Shall I erase this part? Shall I erase? Okay. At a distance x, the coefficient of thermal conductivity of the material of the element here is equal to this one. Okay. This one. Therefore, thermal resistance of the element. Thermal resistance means that is the thermal resistance between the two opposite faces of this element. Across the cross section of the element, what is the thermal resistance means? L by Ka general formula. L by Ka is the general formula for thermal resistance. L means distance between these two faces, that is equal to thickness of the element. By coefficient of thermal conductivity, K means this one. You write K1 plus K2 minus K1 by L into X. You can write into area. Area of cross section is same for every element. That's why you can write directly area of cross section A simply. Area of cross section of the rod is equal to capital A. Okay. Therefore, it is the thermal resistance of the element. This type of elements can imagine from one end to other end now. That's why total thermal resistance is integral dr. R is equal to integral dr limits. At this first end, thermal resistance is 0. At this here between these two, thermal resistance is capital R. So that is equal to here integral dx by k1 plus k2 minus k1 by L into x into A. Okay, therefore R is equal to integral dr means R. When you substitute the limits R minus 0, R only you will get. Here by 1 by A right outside. Integral of dx by this one means ln k1 plus k2 minus k1 by L into x. As this type of elements can be imagined from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to L. You will integrate limit between the limits x is equal to 0 to L. X is equal to 0 to L. So R is equal to 1 by A of, first you substitute upper limit x, LL cancel, then minus k1 plus k1 cancel, then k2 you will get ln k2. Okay. Minus, when you substitute lower limits, it becomes ln k1. That's all. Okay. No. So after integration, we have after integration this one ln something by coefficient of x. Coefficient of x means k2 minus k1 by L is there. No? This one. So whole by k2 minus k1 by L is also there. Therefore, R is equal to, you see, L goes to numerator, L into ln k2 by k1 whole by A into this k2 minus k1 is there. K2 minus k1. That is only we got here. No? So this is the answer. So thermal resistance, whenever the position of thermal conductivity varies with the distance, then we have to do like this. Sometimes k is equal to a plus bx. You write instead of k, you write k a plus bx. Then you do integration and substitute the limits, you will get answer. Okay. Note up. Okay, shall I write this part? Okay. Suppose there are three rods arranged in the form of Y junction. This is one rod. This is another rod. Different rods are connected like this. Area of cross section of this rod is A. It is A1. It is A2. Length L. Here L1, L2. It is the junction O. This is end A, or it is say it is end 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then suppose because here temperature at this end is theta1, here it is theta0. It is the temperature of the junction. At this end temperature is theta2. At this end temperature is theta3. Based on this problem was asked. Okay. Suppose here theta1 is greater than these two. Then if theta1 greater than theta2 or theta3, then heat energy transmission takes place from this theta1 in this direction. Suppose in this chart, two amount of heat energy transmitted. That is divided at the junction, that is divided into two parts. That is divided into two parts. Q2 through this, Q1 through this chart, Q2 through this chart. Suppose if no heat energy losses takes place while heat energy transmitted through the rods in the form of Y junction, then according to law of conservation of energy, total heat energy transmitted only divided into two parts. That's why Q is equal to Q1 plus Q2. Okay, so here, here Q means already we know. Q is equal to K A delta theta T by L. All rods are having different lengths. That's why this is not very constant. All rods are having different coefficients of thermal conductivity. K, it is K, it is K1, it is K2. So K are different. Area of cross sections are different. Temperature difference are different. Only this is constant. Therefore, Q is directly proportional to Ka delta theta by L. Now we substitute this information here. From this, Q means that is directly proportional to Q is the heat energy transmitted through this rod. Okay, Q is the heat energy transmitted through this rod. So that is directly proportional to this one. That means A into area of cross section of this rod A into delta theta. Temperature difference across this rod is theta 1 minus 0. No, theta 1 minus 0 by L, length of this rod smaller, is equal to Q1. Q1 means heat energy transmitted through this. That is directly proportional to this one. K means K1 into area of cross section is A1. Temperature difference is as heat energy flown from this end to this end, then 0 minus theta 2. We can write 0 minus theta 2. Sorry. Theta naught. Here temperature, it is not temperature. It is theta naught, no? So theta naught minus theta 2 into, okay, by length of the rod L1 plus for second rod A2 into temperature difference here. As the heat energy is flowing in this direction, theta naught minus theta 3. Theta naught minus theta 3 whole by this length L2. This length is L1. Sorry, this is L1. This is L1, this is L2. This is the formula. Okay. If lengths of all rods are same, but areas of cross section are different. If lengths of all rods are same and area of cross sections are different, then we can write L1, L2, L3. All are same. Okay. So based on the given problem, we can choose. Suppose if areas of cross section are equal for all, if areas of cross section are equal for all and lengths are also equal, then the above equation becomes K into It is theta naught, no? Theta 1 minus theta naught. It is also theta naught. So theta 1 minus theta naught is equal to, because A, L, both are same for all. A by L you take common, A by L you take common, cancel them. Then remaining K1 into theta naught minus theta 2 plus K2 into theta naught minus theta 3. This is the relation you will get. I think this type of question they ask. Okay. Theta 1 minus theta naught. Okay. Maestro ready. One end of the one end of the rod is kept at a temperature theta. Coefficient of thermal conductivity is K, length L, area of cross section A. One end of the rod is kept at a temperature theta. The other end is kept in melting ice. I think this was completed. Melting ice, that means 0 degrees centigrade. Melting ice. Melting ice means temperature is 0 degrees centigrade at atmospheric pressure. Okay. So in this case, in steady state, here temperature of this end of the rod is theta. As this other end is kept in contact, then the temperature of this end is equal to 0 degrees centigrade only. So because of temperature difference, heat energy transmitted through this rod is equal to K into A into delta theta, theta minus 0 into time t by length of the rod L. It is the heat energy transmitted through this rod in steady state that is absorbed by the ice to melt. That's why this is equal to mass of, in a time t seconds, what is the mass of the ice melted, they asked. If m is the mass of ice melted, m into latent heat of fusion of ice, where m mass of ice melted in time t, mass of ice melted in a time t. Here the question is, what is the rate of melting ice? What is the rate of melting ice? Okay. Rate of melting ice. Rate of melting ice is equal to mass of ice melted is m in a time t seconds. Then what is the mass of ice melted per second? Means m by t. That is equal to what? M by t is equal to, remaining you write, K A theta into t by L into L ice. This is the rate of melting ice. Rate of melting ice. Okay, in yesterday's note points, it is the fifth point. I think fifth point I have written only m. Mass of the ice melted is what? Rate of melting ice means mass of the ice melted per second. L is the latent heat of ice. No? Latent heat of fusion of ice. Its value is 80 calorie per gram. Okay. Total I said. Okay. Right. You need not write this one. If total I said means you don't write. Suppose if in the same, suppose if it is the water, if it is any body, okay, then what is the temperature in a time t seconds? What is the increase in temperature of this body? What is the increase in temperature of the body? They may ask. This heat energy transmitted is absorbed by this one. Heat energy transmitted is absorbed by this one. What is the rise in temperature? What is the rise in temperature of the body in a time t seconds means? In t seconds, what is the heat energy transmitted? This is the heat energy transmitted. That is equal to heat energy required to raise the temperature. Heat energy required to raise the temperature. Okay, Q is equal to heat energy transmitted is Ka delta theta T by L. T by L. If this heat energy transmitted is in a time t seconds is absorbed by the body to raise the temperature, this is equal to m into c into rise in temperature of the rise in temperature. How we can write delta capital T. Delta T, rise in temperature of body. Rise in temperature of body. So that is equal to how much? So M is the mass of the body will be given. C is the specific heat. C specific heat. So we can find the rise in temperature of the body. Okay. Rate of melting ice means okay. T is not there. T is not there in this formula. Okay. Thank you. Next. In cold countries, on the surface of the lake, ice layer is formed. As long as time lapses, the thickness of the ice layer gradually increases. In a time t seconds, what is the in order to increase the thickness of the ice layer from x1 to x2, what is the time taken? They may ask like that. In this almost all, I think last point, 16 or 17. 16 or 17. 16. Okay. 16th one. Suppose in cold countries, an ice layer is formed on the surface of the water. In order to increase the thickness of the ice layer from y1 to y2, here suppose this is the surface of the water and it is the bed of the lake. Bed of the lake. Due to anomalous behavior of water, in cold countries, definitely at the bed of the lake, due to anomalous behavior of water, the temperature of the water at the bed of the lake is 4 degrees centigrade. You know, because of anomalous behavior of water, what is the anomalous behavior means? In case of water, when temperature of the water decrease from 100 degrees centigrade, then gradually whenever the temperature decreases up to 4 degrees centigrade from 100, then as usual compression takes place, because when temperature increases, expansion. When temperature decreases, compression takes place. Like liquid contracts due to that volume gradually decreases, and when it reaches 4 degrees centigrade, the volume of the given liquid or given water becomes minimum, and from 4 to 0 degrees centigrade when temperature decreases, then expansion takes place. It is the peculiar behavior of the water because of change of structure of the water molecule. Okay, that's why in reverse way, when you heat the water from 0 to 4 degrees centigrade, contraction takes place, and from 4 to 100, expansion takes place. So for the given volume of the given mass of the water, the volume is minimum at 4 degrees centigrade. That's why density will be maximum at 4 degrees centigrade. So in cold countries, as the water is having maximum density at 4 degrees centigrade, that water whose temperature is at 4 degrees centigrade, because of more density, that settles at the bed of the lake or bottom of the lake. So at the bottom of the lake, temperature of the water is 4 degrees centigrade. The atmospheric temperature is minus theta. Atmospheric temperature is minus that, because in cold countries temperature in negative temperatures are there. So -2, -3, -4 like that. Negative temperatures are there. So atmospheric temperature is this one. So our aim is time taken to increase the thickness of ice layer from y1 to y2 in cold countries. Time taken to increase the thickness of the ice layer from y1 to y2 in cold countries. Okay. Here, as the surface of the water in the lake is in contact with the atmosphere, the surface of the water is at a temperature equal to atmospheric temperature minus theta. Okay. Here, temperature of the water here is 4 degrees centigrade. As the surface of the lake, surface of the water in the lake, because of actually whenever temperature of the lake is at 0 degrees centigrade at the surface, but as it is in contact with the atmosphere, as the temperature is in minus degrees, then the surface loses some heat energy to the atmosphere, so that at 0 degrees centigrade, suppose if atmosphere is not there, then the water at 0 degrees centigrade reaches the top and water at 4 degrees centigrade reaches the bottom. So initially the temperature of the water at the surface is 0 degrees centigrade. But as the atmospheric temperature is in minus degrees centigrade, then the surface of the water in the lake loses heat energy, and whenever the water at 0 degrees centigrade loses heat energy, what happens to the water? Water at 0 degrees centigrade loses heat energy. Okay, last point. Water at 0 degrees centigrade loses heat energy. What happens? It becomes solidified, no? That's why here, because of solidification, here ice layer is formed. Here ice layer is formed. This is the ice layer. This lower end of the lower surface of the ice layer is at 0 degrees centigrade and upper surface is with the atmospheric temperature. That's why minus theta. So as temperature difference is there across the ice layer already formed. Initially there is a ice layer of thickness say y1. Okay, already at certain instant of time, ice layer is formed having thickness y1. So the surface of the ice layer is at a temperature minus theta. At the bottom, temperature of the ice layer is 0 degrees centigrade. So because of temperature difference here, the heat energy transmission takes place from the water to the atmosphere through ice layer. Water through atmosphere, water through this ice layer into the atmosphere. Due to that, further heat energy is lost as long as the time lapses. Okay, then because of heat energy lost, suppose the increase in thickness of the ice layer in a small interval of time, dt seconds. In dt seconds, the increase in thickness of the ice layer formed is say, this is the thickness of the ice layer, extra thickness of the ice layer formed, that is the dy in a time dt seconds. What is the heat lost by this part of thickness dy becomes solidified. This is totally water. Okay, so heat lost by this extra thickness formed. Heat lost by extra thick ice layer formed here is equal to mass of the ice layer formed dm into latent heat of ice. This is equal to this heat energy lost by this ice layer is transmitted through this through this already ice layer formed here, no? So heat energy transmitted through this part is equal to coefficient of thermal conductivity of the ice layer Ki into area of the cross section of this ice layer A into temperature difference from this position to this position, from this phase to this phase, as heat energy transmission takes place. This lower surface of this ice layer formed already is 0. That's why 0 degree minus here minus theta. Okay, it is the temperature difference across the ice layer formed having thickness say y1. Okay, Ka delta theta in a time dt seconds. This amount of heat energy is lost. That's why time taken dt by thickness of the ice layer formed is say in general y. Thickness of the ice layer formed is say y. Because this is the length between two surfaces. That is y, which is equal to mass of the ice layer. Mass of the ice layer means area into thickness of the ice layer formed is equal to dy. Okay, that gives volume into density of ice gives mass into latent heat of ice. Okay, from this dt we have to find dt is equal to what? dt is equal to what? dt is equal to do cross multiplication totally. Last one. A, of course here A cancel. Okay, rho I li into y dy by ki into theta. So in a time, the time taken to form the small thin ice layer having thickness dy is this one. Total time taken to increase the thickness of the ice layer from y1 to y2. To increase the thickness of the ice layer from y1 to y2, what is the total time taken? It is the just dt is the time taken to form the ice layer of thickness dt. To increase the thickness of the ice layer from y1 to y2, what is the total time taken? Is integral y is equal to y1 to y2. You do integration. Rho I li y dy by ki into theta. Therefore, it is t is equal to rho I li by ki into theta is constant. Integral y dy means y square by 2. Limits y1 to y2. Therefore, t is equal to rho I li by ki theta by 2. But 2 is also here. You write 2 into y2 square minus y1 square. I think this is the time taken to increase the thickness of the ice layer formed from Y1 to Y2. Okay, this is the formula. Note down. Yeah, rho I Li by 2 Ki theta into Y2 square minus Y1 square. The maximum thickness of the ice layer formed. The maximum thickness of ice layer formed. Maximum thickness of ice layer form కావాలి ఇంకా ఆ తర్వాత ఇంక్రీజ్ కావద్దు. మాక్సిమం థిక్నెస్ ఆఫ్ ఐస్ లేయర్ ఫామ్ అయిన తర్వాత ఇంక్రీజ్ కాకూడదండి. ఇక్కడ ఎంత హీట్ అని అయితే లాస్ అవుతుందో అంత హీట్ అనేది ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఇటువైపుకి రావాలి. అప్పుడు ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఇటువైపు వచ్చే హీట్ అనేది దీంట్లో నుంచి బయటకి ట్రాన్స్మిట్ అయ్యే హీట్ అనేది రెండు ఈక్వల్ కావాలి. ఇది Q1 అనుకోండి, Q2 అనుకోండి. ఫర్ మాక్సిమం థిక్నెస్ ఆఫ్ ది ఐస్ లేయర్ ఫార్మ్ Q1 is equal to Q2. Q1 is equal to Q2. Okay, Q1 means heat energy transmitted through ice layer. Ki into area A into temperature difference here. 0 minus of minus theta. 0 minus of minus theta. Ki A delta theta into T by L. L means thickness of the ice layer. Maximum thickness of the ice layer formed by max is equal to here heat energy transmitted through this water. As the heat energy transmission from 4 to 0 here. So coefficient of thermal conductivity of the water Kw into area A into temperature difference theta minus 4 minus 0 into time same in the same time t by thickness means if it is y max the total depth of the lake is say h. Total depth of the lake is say h. Then this length is equal to h minus y max. So h minus y max. So from this, what is y max? You have to calculate. Okay, this is the formula. Right. Okay, note down. So regarding coefficient of thermal conductivity, these are over. So now tomorrow we'll do some problems and I will say the thermal radiation concept. Okay. Have a nice day. I'm signing out. Shall I sign out? Shall I sign out? Bye all of you. Okay. Tomorrow I don't take extra time. Okay. Bye all of you.